Imagine a battle so absurd, so ridiculous, that it sounds like something out of a comedy sketch. But this war actually happened. Trained soldiers, armed with machine guns, went head-to-head with an army of giant, flightless birds, and they lost. In 1932, Australia faced an enemy it never expected: thousands of emus, towering over 6 feet tall, invading farmland and leaving destruction in their wake. Farmers had already been struggling due to the Great Depression, which had caused wheat prices to plummet, government subsidies to fail, and financial ruin to spread across the land. Then came the feathered invaders. The emus had migrated inland, drawn by the plentiful wheat fields, trampling crops, breaking fences, and wreaking havoc. Farmers pleaded with the government for assistance, and after careful deliberation, officials approved military intervention. Australia was about to go to war against birds. The operation was led by Major GPW Meredith, a respected officer tasked with deploying soldiers armed with Lewis machine guns, the same weapons used during World War I. The plan was simple: eradicate the emus, restore order, and protect Australian agriculture. But what followed was one of the strangest military failures in history. On November 2nd, 1932, the soldiers spotted their first massive flock of emus gathered near a farm. They set up their machine guns, ready for battle, and waited for the perfect moment. Then they opened fire. Chaos erupted. Instead of scattering in a predictable way, the emus moved erratically, darting across the fields in zigzag patterns, outpacing the bullets. Their slender legs and small heads made them difficult targets, and despite the relentless gunfire, most of the birds escaped completely unharmed. The soldiers had underestimated the speed and resilience of their enemy. Still determined, the military regrouped and devised a new strategy. They mounted a machine gun onto a truck, hoping to chase down the birds while firing. It was a disaster. The rough terrain made aiming nearly impossible, and the vibrations caused the gun to jam repeatedly. Meanwhile, the emus, seemingly unfazed by human weaponry, outran the vehicle with ease. One emu, described by the soldiers as larger than the rest, sprinted ahead, leading dozens of birds away from the advancing troops like a seasoned military commander. The soldiers were stunned, but they refused to surrender. Over the following weeks, they launched multiple offensives, experimenting with ambush tactics, coordinated attacks, and firing in controlled bursts. Yet the emus kept adapting. Instead of traveling in large groups, they split into smaller units, making them harder to target. Some emus, whether by instinct or luck, positioned themselves in such a way that they could alert others when soldiers approached, allowing entire flocks to scatter before gunfire reached them. The battle raged on, but the soldiers were losing. By the end of the Great Emu War, Australia had fired over 2,500 rounds of ammunition. The expected mass extermination never happened. Only about 200 emus were killed, while the remaining birds continued their reign over the farmland. Major Meredith later reflected on the operation, stating, "If we had a military division with the bullet-carrying capacity of these birds, it would face any army in the world." With the military officially defeated, the government withdrew its forces. The emus had won. Farmers were left to fend off the birds themselves, resorting to stronger fences and alternative methods to protect their crops. The story spread across the country, becoming one of the most infamous military failures in history, a tale of trained soldiers armed with machine guns, completely outmatched by the sheer speed and resilience of a flock of birds. The Great Emu War stands as a testament to nature's defiance, a battle where modern warfare proved powerless against simple, untamed survival instincts. To this day, the emus remain a protected species. Australia has never attempted military intervention against them again. And so, the emus live on, knowing they once defeated an army, and that history will never forget their victory. Subscribe for more.